I hope you've had a productive few days so far, filled with discussions and networking. We have a very special lineup today. In a few minutes, we'll be joined by Madalena dos Santos, who will share her expertise and efforts from the State Secretariat for Digital Transformation of Rio de Janeiro. Following that, my friend, my great friend, Professor Francisco Thiago Sacramento Aragão and Marco Chaves Martins from COP will present their talk, shedding light on innovative initiatives and developments here at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. Next, we're going to have a roundtable session. Next, we will have a surprise. After that surprise, we're going to have a roundtable session with SILVANUS team, where we will explore the multidimensional aspects of SILVANUS, including its technological, ethical, legal, and societal implications. The SILVANUS team that will speak is formed by Ibru Esquerdo from VTG, Giorgio Sacas from QMEA, Alexandre Lazaru from ZNP, Marek Gasparin from Czech Fire Corps, Kuzrini from Amicom, Konstantinos Domesticas from AUA, and me. Each of our panelists will bring a unique viewpoint, and together we will do an interesting closing of the event. After the roundtable, the lunch will be served. Everybody is welcome to have lunch with us. And we will once again have the honor of the company of the Brazilian music group, Choro na Praça. Thank you very much. Douglas, Professor Douglas, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Rogério. Good morning, everybody. It is a great pleasure to be back here. 4 days. Congratulations to all of you survivors out there. So our first speaker this morning is the Undersecretary of Data Management in the State Secretariat of Digital Transformation. Her name is Madalena dos Santos. She's an attorney and specialized in public management. So I would kindly ask you all to give her a very SILVANUS warm welcome.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to highlight the presence of our Secretary, Fel Braga, the Secretary of the Digital Transformation of the State of Rio de Janeiro. And it's an honor to be here. I would like to thank Rogério and the whole organization of the meeting for this invitation. And we work at the Digital Transformation Agency of the State of Rio de Janeiro. And unlike the other government agencies that present their work here yesterday, we don't work directly with environment or wildfires. Our role is to enable data and technology across government. We support state agencies by providing tools and expertise to facilitate effective data use. And we offer products like the data visualization tool. Here we have an image of one of our dashboards, but the other agencies can build their own dashboards with this tool to support their data-driven decisions. We also manage the open data portal of the state of Rio de Janeiro, where any citizen may access data on security, social assistance, and soon environment data. And we are developing an API gateway to enable data exchange between different agencies. And why is this important? Because as government and as a society, we face many cross-cutting challenges. We have listened to so many brilliant lectures the past few days about wildfires and the role of climate change. And as those are good examples of issues that may be influenced by multiple factors, such as income inequality, social assistance, education, and energy policies. So that's why we are convinced that it's important to the data discovering and sharing between different agencies and different sector of the society is really important. And our goal is to promote the use of data for better public policy. As I mentioned, we have these real-world problems that defy common sense, and we have a lot of data on it. Government collect and stores vast amounts of information, and we need to build knowledge from this data, and that's why it's so important for us to be here today, because we believe that universities may play an important role, key role in analyzing data to generate knowledge and develop real-world products and technologies. And further, government can implement this technology and products to enhance people's lives. And the SILVANUS project serves as a great example of how this can be done. To make this possible, we have a strategy. And the first step is to structure data for use. And this is not a simple task, at least not in the government of Rio de Janeiro. So that's why we are established the Data Governance Committee. And I mentioned before the Open Data Portal. It's important to not only for transparency and research, but also for data organization, cataloging, and labeling. And we are working at interoperability, which is the data sharing within government system for faster and better service. And it includes not only the API gateway and other technological solutions, but also legal aspects. We are working to establish standards for responsible data use. This is a new initiative, and we have adopted a data ethics framework, and we are starting to think in a responsible AI methodology, not only for our agency, but for all the governments of the state of Rio de Janeiro. And as part of this effort, we have conducted a user test of our AI-based chatbot prototype with the population, with real people, to be able to evaluate the chatbot performance, aspects like the accuracy and the safety before the launch. And that was supported by that was supported by the Alan Turing Institute, which is the UK's National Institute for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. I would like to share a short video that showcases this initiative.
A Secretaria de Estado de Transformação Digital, com o apoio do Prodeste e do SEBRAE, promove esta semana o RJ Digital em Ação, que acontece aqui na Central do Brasil. O objetivo é ouvir a população para a transformação digital, aprimorar o atendimento e otimizar os serviços ao cidadão fluminense. Desenvolvendo uma ferramenta baseada em inteligência artificial para ajudar o cidadão a acessar serviços estaduais.
O SEBRAE é parceiro da Secretaria de Transformação Digital, tal como esta iniciativa aqui na Central do Brasil para a melhoria dos serviços ao cidadão e ao empreendedor. Isso tudo com um desdobramento na melhoria do ambiente de negócios.
Falando um pouco sobre a inteligência artificial, eu acredito que vai ajudar muita gente no dia a dia, na facilidade de buscar informações, encontrar também respostas, né, para muitas perguntas que hoje a gente tem dificuldade de ter. Então, assim, nota 10.
Eu achei muito interessante usar a IA também para nos ajudar, porque eu, como desenhista, eu também achei que a IA iria me atrapalhar, tanto para a criação, mas só auxilia, porque quem faz a pergunta é a gente. Eu fiz uma pergunta bem interessante, que é o meu caso, que é de tirar o meu primeiro CNH, que até então eu não sou habilitado, e puxou direto do site. Isso foi muito informativo e eu gostei bastante.
Sorry for the technical issues. Is that still not working? No. It's working now? Okay, I think now it's good. So our final message is that we believe that we can accelerate social impact through collaboration, and especially collaboration between government and universities. And that's why we like to explore more the SILVANUS project to find collaboration opportunities. And that was all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Undersecretary. So our second presentation will actually be two people, as Rogério has already mentioned. So I'd like to invite, first of all, Professor Thiago Aragão, Adjunct Director of Entrepreneurship of COPI, who is a civil engineer and a member of the Brazilian Academy of Sciences, and also Marcos Martins, who is a production or industrial engineer, and he's the manager of a business incubator here at COPI. Please welcome them to the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my dear friend Rogério, for the kind invitation. It's a pleasure for us at COPI to see so many vibrant projects like this one, like SILVANUS. So we are very happy to be with you guys and to open our doors to our partners from the state government, from the industry. You're always very welcome here at COPI. I think Marcos sent the presentation. Let's see. No. Some digital transformation is going on right now. What's that? Para passar para o lado. I'm sorry, I think we lost some of the configuration here. I put some QR codes so that you can later on, if you want, scan the codes and see some websites that I'm going to comment about them. So here at COPY, many of our students and staff, they don't know, but we have a very broad environment, which we call ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship. We have all of those elements of our ecosystem connected and very actively working together at COPY, and also working together with UFRJ. So our students here and our faculty, they are very eager to publish papers and get very nice research projects, but we also encourage them to work on transforming their research in real products and real processes that can be used by society. So at COPY, we have a complete environment that can promote that and can actually make that happen, okay? So we have 6 elements. Starting from the top, we have what we call Connection COPY, Inova COPY aqui, our business incubator, and the focus today will be on the business incubator by Marcos. Many innovation labs, and our EMBRAP unit, and the social technology incubator. Again, I think we lost some of the configuration there, but you can see what I'm trying to show there. And the Conexão COPY is a very nice place that we have here in the I block. It's right behind us. And our mission there is to connect researchers, students, the industry, and to bring them together to make their ideas become real products, real processes that can be applied to the society. Inova COPY aqui is a branch of our main Inova system at UFRJ that deals with intellectual property rights and several other aspects. And here at our institute at COPY, in partnership with the chemistry school, we have a very active and vibrant branch which provides service to our community and also very nice connection with the main Inova system that belongs to UFRJ. EMBRAP, I think some of you have heard of EMBRAP, which is not something that we created at COPY. It's a federal government institution, and it has branches in several parts of the country. And we here at COPY have an EMBRAP unit that has the highest level. I mean, we are diamond EMBRAP unit. We are very mature in our approaches, and our main topics go to upstream and downstream in the oil and gas industry, but we also have several other topics that can be embraced by EMBRAP. And the idea by EMBRAP is to provide support, financial support, to projects that have innovation in their core, and that will connect the industry to the academia, okay? So EMBRAP provides part of the project resources, and the industry, the partner from the industry provides another part of the resources. The university provides what we call economical counterpart, which is like the use of the labs, our time, like the researchers' time. So it's a very nice arrangement. And we have this diamond unit from EMBRAP here at COPY. The director for this is Professor Angela Uller, which was the first COPY director some years ago. The social technology incubator, we're also redesigning a little bit this incubator. It's now very well connected to Marcos incubator, which is the business incubator. And the idea is to foster social technologies and to meet the needs and challenges of the surrounding communities and solve local problems. So with the business incubator, we are more interested in the business itself. With the social incubator, we want to do businesses that solve problems, real problems of our communities, our local communities. The technology-based business incubator, I'm not going to talk a lot about this because Marcos will dig deeper, but we have a very well-known incubator, which is 30 years old. It was created in 1994. And from our incubator, several companies and even the technological part from the university were created. I'm not sure if you know that, but the technological part was created from the incubator because by that time, our coordinator, which was Mauricio Guedes, was the one who decided to create this very nice arrangement for mature companies in the technological park. So it's a very interesting arrangement that we have here. The incubator takes care of companies that are starting their lives, and the technological park has companies that already have a very mature approach, let's say. They are already in the business in a mature way, okay? This is part of our team. Some of them are here. I'm very happy to see them here. And now what I want to do is to let Marcos explore a little bit more about our incubator, okay? I hope you guys enjoy, and hopefully, who knows, some of you can think about creating a startup and coming to work with us at the incubator, okay? Thank you very much.
Let me just check the presentation here. I think it's okay. Okay, now I got it. Thank you. Sorry for the setup. So thank you very much to be here with you. It's a pleasure to talk a little bit about the business incubator. Actually, I've been here working on the incubator for 3 years now, with great support from Thiago and from everyone in the directory. So. Well, as Thiago pointed out, we are kind of in the business of generating startups for almost 30 years, actually for 30 years this year, right? So we started with the assumption that technological base would be a source of competitive advantage, and somehow this proved to be true because we generated more than 100 companies. Some of them are now big companies in Brazil and working in different scenarios and different, let's say, market segments, right? So obviously, when we started this journey, the startups, let's say, environment was kind of very different. So we somehow have to adapt to the environment in where we have innovation hubs, we have VCs, and we have a lot of investment in startups. But we have a departure point that is a lot of companies that have, by their own efforts, with some help of us, done a great job in terms of entering the market. So we currently have more than 30 startups with us in our program. Again, this goes in different directions in terms of market source, but we are kind of trying to understand how we should approach the program in terms of what is the type of startups that we are more prepared to help. We should be able to answer the question of why should a company develop itself in our business incubator and not in other environments. So first of all, we are in the Federal University, which in terms of federal universities, we are in the top one. In terms of universities, public universities in Brazil, we are top two. So this is kind of one of the reasons, right? So we have access to a number of laboratories, a number of researchers, a number of developed and accumulated knowledge that should be used and can be used to generate new businesses. So I think that this is obviously something that started long ago, but with the vision that the innovation process should not stop at as Thiago was mentioning in the paper, in something to the knowledge, in the knowledge that was generated, but also bringing this knowledge into the market. And that's somehow what we are aiming here at the Business Incubator. So obviously what we want is to establish a good connection between the market and what is being generated here. And we have indeed a very interesting space. This is a part of, we have three, we call buildings, but they are, only one is kind of 2 floors. But we have, let's say, a good space for generating new businesses. And this is kind of interesting. But we are aiming to do something a little bit more, how to say, narrowing the focus, right? So the question that we started to ask is, what is exactly the type of business that we should somehow focus our efforts, right? So this idea would somehow to understand what are the competencies of the university, what the market is bringing to us in terms of what needs and demands are, and what type of businesses we have fostered in the past. So this somehow is forming an incubation thesis, not to call it economic thesis or investment thesis, right? So, and when we do this kind of analysis, we ended up with 4 main thematic areas in which it's very visible that we have competences and great, let's say, infrastructure to generate business in the university, and also the market is calling for that type of solution, and also we somehow generated in the past businesses like that. So we have established network that we can foster and depart with. So life science is really a strong part in this university. Energy, here I mentioned a specific oil and gas plus renewable energy, which I think it somehow touches your agenda. Electrical energy will come together soon, but let's say these portraits are really ambitious in a certain way, so we are trying to not to amplify the scope too much. So artificial intelligence is kind of impossible not to talk about that today, and social innovation is the area in which the incubator for social endeavors came to this part. So this is forming, first of all, a certain way of communicating to people how we see ourselves better supporting the new business, and also, but more than that, it's somehow a way to connect to the environment of VCs and etc. Because when a company reach out to the phase in which they have a great team, they have revenues, etc., today they can find investment. So our job somehow is to prepare these companies to be in the exact point in which they can leverage other resources and VC's resources, right? So by doing that, by focusing in some specific areas that we have more ability to help the companies, I think that we are reaching the point that we can do a better job in terms of helping those companies to foster, to grow. So the idea is that we are forming startup generation programs in each of these fields, in each of these thematic areas, and they will unfold in different parts, right, in different times. So for life sciences, we are building a biotech hub. It's a laboratory with 300 meters for laboratories that covers a number of steps in biological synthesis and processes. The part of energy, we are discussing strongly with Petrobras a program in which we will analyze the development research projects that has been run in the past few years and understand what are the technologies that can be pushed into the market. So this probably will emerge right there. Artificial intelligence, we are building a program starting with their hackathon, an AI hackathon that will unfold in mid-year somehow, and we will analyze social impacting issues, and I think that we will have a great event there. Probably LNCC will participate with the supercomputer Santos Dumont, and I think it will be a very nice setup for understanding how artificial intelligence can be put together and what are the main players that can be collected and to work with new startups on there. And social innovation, we will engage in we'll launch a program mid-year as well. We have already everything set up. We are just waiting a little bit the funds that we collected for that, and we'll have a first program for launching new social innovation startups. And we are trying to apply the same techniques that we apply for developing those startups, for developing social startups as well, because their aim and their objective, the final goal is a little bit different, but the techniques and how do we foster those startups should not be so different, right? They will, anyway, they will have to find a market, public. They will have to understand what are the needs. They have to understand how to address those in a product. So everything that we are reasoning for bringing up a startup, it's suitable as well with some adaptation for people that are trying to address social impacts. So, yeah, the reminder of the presentation is a little bit how we do it. And first of all, we have a number of partners that help us in this journey. The main role of these partners is somehow to guide those companies into real market needs. This is growing in terms of number of partners. We are bringing for instance, for the setup in biotech, we are bringing Merck and Embrapa as partners. So the contracts are pretty much in the final stage of signing. And a lot of other venture capitals already are here with us. So the idea is, there are three things that we understand that is our mission to bring to the startups. First, what are the best practices for innovation and best practices for generating business? Secondly, how do we access market? And third, how do we access capital? So somehow these partners are aiming to access market. The venture capital should be the one that brings access to capital. And we are bringing the access to best practice. So we divided our incubation program in what we are calling a systematic approach for entrepreneurship. So myself, besides being an industrial engineering, have been in starting up business for quite a long time. My master was somehow in this subjects as well, and a number of other people here in the university spend some time studying what is that we're talking about when we say let's start a business, right? And we end up by converging in 5 dimensions of this process: market, technology, talent, sales, and resources. There's no big new thing here. What we bring is somehow new, is that we understand and somehow propose a certain methodology to deal with the fact that people are bringing this up together simultaneously, right? So if you take any one of these dimensions individually, probably it's somehow not very complex. I mean, we know what is finding a market about. We know what is about, I mean, bringing a product up. Each one of the should not be that complex, but try to run every one of them simultaneously with a pressure of time from you, from your family, from the budget that you have. So it becomes really not easy, right? So so that's why we are trying to somehow take that into account when you propose a methodology, because when you take out the entrepreneur to bring something, some training to him that will enable him to do better marketing, for instance, maybe we are helping them because we are enabling them to do something better, but at the same time we are taking him out of the front of the business, right? Maybe in the day that he was training, he would have a good presentation in front of a customer. So what is the best? So we are trying to take that into account, and we brought together a specific methodology to deal with that. I would not cover that in depth because I'm not sure if how much this is in our agenda, but each step of it we're covering the minimum important concept and practice that we should be able to articulate to bring up your business. So pitch hard market, what market are you targeting, ideal customer profile, how do you identify your customer and identify that this is somehow a scalable setup for your customer, how do you go to market. In terms of technology, understand the difference between an MVP and an experiment with MVP. This is easy to say, difficult to put in practice. How do you converge that in a technology roadmap that you understand how your technology will evolve with time? How do you put that in, how do you put that to work in an agile and interactive way? The talents, how do you understand that talent is not just about team, but also the supporters that you are engaging a long time. Someone that you have presented today will be someone that can bring you another marketer, another stakeholder. How do you play with book smart, money smart, street smart? How do you play with the non-financial economic value that people can bring to the table? And how do you start forming a culture based on your mission, what you are trying to solve? Sales, for obvious reasons, it's some very important part. Selling to B2B is pretty much different to selling to B2C, and how to build these sales machines and focusing on the customer success as a proxy for profitability, right? So finally, resources, which is probably the first preoccupation of anyone that is starting a business, but in the end, people start most of the time with nothing. So starting with nothing is somehow bootstrap your finance and make the best with what you can. And the gap here is that until you are able to find those angel capitals that brings you to the pre-seed, seed, and Series A, you have to somehow survive, right? And we are working on setting up something that could be a vehicle for this type of investment. This is on our agenda, and we are working on that. But we support them to find those grants and pre-angel money that could work with them, and building their reputation, network, and smart resource will help that out. So finally, this is the journey that we are working with the companies that are together with us. So there are 12 steps. There was a low touch in terms of commitment, in terms of time spent to deal with that. We don't call it a training. It's an activation pill that you get each week. And in 12 steps, 2 weeks each one, so 5 to 6 months, we cover the main concepts and main practice for starting up. And then bringing the startup to the market by means of demo days, pitch days, and etc. in those 4 fields that I mentioned. So I hope that I have not tired you with this subject, and I hope that you find something interesting, and I'm completely available to extend this discussion further. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I am told I need to invite Rogério, who told us he had a surprise for us, which is kind of a spoiler. But hey, I don't make the rules. Here you go, with you, Rogério Spindola.
I want to thank to Marcos. I know you effort to be here with us today. It was a great presentation. So, we'll see here one of the members of the project management team. Her name is Alessia Siamana. And I'm sorry, Alessia, if I pronounce your surname wrongly. And she will say some words before we close our event. The floor is yours, Alessia.
Thank you very much, Rogério. Thanks for the invitation. I would have liked to be with you, of course, in presence, but this was not possible, unfortunately. Anyway, I am honored to be here today on behalf of Pegaso Online University, coordinator of the project, and speaking as deputy of the principal investigator, Professor Michele Corleto, who brings his regards to all of you. As we gather today to mark the conclusion of the Brazilian pilot within the SILVANUS project, we reflect on the very remarkable journey that has transcended continents and brought together a diverse consortium of experts to combat the escalating threat of wildfires. The SILVANUS initiative, founded by the European Union's Horizon 2020 Green Deal program, exemplifies the power of international collaboration in addressing global challenges. With a substantial budget of 24 million allocated over 42 months, our mission has been to develop a climate-resilient forest management platform aimed at preventing and mitigating forest fires. This ambitious endeavor has united 49 partners from the European Union, Brazil, Indonesia, and Australia, each contributing unique expertise and perspectives to our collective goals. As SILVANUS approaches its conclusion in the coming month, I would like to highlight the significant opportunity that this Brazilian pilot represents for the consortium. It is exceptionally rare for the European Commission to fund activities in non-EU countries, making this a unique opportunity to demonstrate the global relevance and applicability and scalability of our solutions. The huge pilot success will be highly appreciated by the Commission, contributing to proving that the funding has been well invested. The Brazilian pilot provides an invaluable setting to validate SILVANUS technologies in diverse environmental and operational conditions, fostering international collaborations and reinforcing our impact beyond Europe. Engaging in this initiative not only enhances the project's visibility on a global scale, but also strengthens our consortium positions as a leader in wildfire management solutions adaptable to different geographical and climatic contexts. This will be a long-term benefit for all the partners involved in the action. Your expertise and contributions have been instrumental in ensuring its success, and I am confident that this experience will add significant value to the legacy of SILVANUS. As you know, the project faced many challenges indeed during these years. Managing a consortium of this magnitude presents inherent complexities, of course. But we have successfully unified diverse disciplines, including environmental sciences, technology, social sciences, legal topics, to achieve significant technical and policy milestones. These interdisciplinary collaborations have been the cornerstone of our success, enabling us to share knowledge, drive innovation, and develop comprehensive strategies for wildfire management. Our collective efforts have resulted in the creation of advanced tools and methodologies that enhance the capabilities of regional and national authorities responsible for wildfire management in their respective countries, aiming to a concrete impact in civil society of the research findings. The Italian press, upon our project announcement, highlighted that 50 of the world's leading experts were contributing to Silvanus. This recognition underscores the caliber of our team and the importance of our mission. Our consortium strength lies in its diversity, bridging together professionals from various fields and regions to tackle the multifaceted challenges posed by wildfires. This collaborative spirit has been instrumental in developing innovative solutions that are both effective and adaptable to different environmental contexts, like we successfully demonstrating during the pilot visits around the world and in this final one as well in Brazil. A pivotal aspect of our endeavor is enhancing public literacy on wildfire prevention, and this emerged strongly during the high-level sessions of the scientific conferences that have been a fundamental part of this pilot visit in Brazil. We recognize that technology alone cannot address the complexities of wildfire management. We also need active participation from communities, which is essential. And regarding this aspect, again, this pilot have been very significant because it had a strong involvement of local educational communities. Through continuous training programs and education programs, we aim to transform preventive measures into everyday practices, empowering individuals to take proactive steps in safeguarding their environments. Small behavioral changes, when adopted collectively, can lead to substantial impacts in reducing wildfire risk. To facilitate this, we have developed user-friendly tools, such as our dedicated mobile application, which provides real-time information and guidance on fire prevention strategies and support during wildfire crises. Our commitment extends to the training of firefighters and first responders, recognizing the critical role they play in combating wildfires. We have integrated advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence and augmented reality, to simulate real-world scenarios. These immersive training modules enhance preparedness of communities and of practitioners, allowing responders to experience various fire situations in a controlled environment and develop effective response strategies during real crises. Education and training are fundamental mission, of course, of our university, so they complement our research and community engagement efforts, and we do care about Silvanus' contribution on this topic. By equipping both citizens and professionals with the necessary knowledge and tools, we foster a culture of resilience and proactive wildfire management. As academics, researchers, stakeholders, and active participants in this ecosystem, including local and regional administrations, authorities, and citizens, we recognize the imperative to communicate and manage change effectively. This is another incomparable added value of the Silvanus Consortium, which really represent on a smaller scale the perfect balance of the different actors of the system and what their common commitment is able to achieve. The digital transition is not merely an option, but a necessity in modern wildfire management. We have embraced this by developing and deploying cutting-edge technologies that enhance our ability to predict, detect, and respond to wildfires. Our platform is of high value because it integrates a big data processing framework capable of analyzing heterogeneous data sources, including observation from the Earth, climate models, and weather data. This comprehensive approach allows for the generation of intelligent fire ignition models, providing early warnings and enabling preemptive actions to prevent fire outbreaks. Active engagement in testing this very advanced high-tech solution in different conditions and environments and co-designing our products ensures that we address the concrete needs of our target audiences around the world in the different countries and continents involved in this really innovative action. This collaborative approach aligns with the European Commission's emphasis on producing effective, user-centered solutions. By involving end users in the development process, we ensure that our tools are practical, accessible, and tailored to real-world applications. This participatory methodology not only enhances the functionality of our solution, but also fosters a sense of ownership and commitment among all the actors of the system. European project management is undoubtedly challenging, and coordinating a diverse consortium across multiple time zones with the jet lag like today, languages and regulatory environment requires meticulous planning and unwavering dedication. While some may falter under such pressure, our collective resolve has been unwavering. Gathering together here, supported by EU funds, signifies our dedication to this cause. We all experienced during the project, early mornings spent on emails, file testing, extensive travel to pilot locations far from home. And this exemplifies our commitment to making a tangible difference in our environment. These efforts are not merely professional obligations, but are driven by a shared passion to protect our forests and communities from the devastating effects of wildfires. I am coming to the conclusion because our objectives are very clear. We want to deliver market-ready technologies, provide policy recommendations for public authorities and policymakers, and develop tools and models for everyday and replicable application. We aspire to redefine approaches to fire prevention, moving from reactive measures to proactive strategy that address the root causes of wildfires. We are committed to continue our efforts beyond the project conclusion, disseminating our findings and advocating for policies that support sustainable forest management. And that's why dissemination activities like the one we are celebrating today are great milestones of our project. Our mission has spanned continents, acknowledging that firefighting is a universal challenge. Wildfires do not recognize borders. Thus, our solution must be globally applicable. Modern universities play a crucial role in translating research into practical solutions, but they need to have a strong connection and dialogue with policymakers and with all the other actors of the system, such as the company producing the tools and the end users that we already mentioned. So I've come to an end. I'm very happy to celebrate the great success of this pilot that has come beyond your continent and came here to Europe, because all the participants are extremely excited about the high value of this initiative and how you delivered it, and of the very high scientific level of the conferences that you have been able to set. So thank you very much for your attention. And I leave the floor again to Rogerio.
Thank you, Alessia. It was very important. It is very important to us to hear from you, your message, and we now continue our program.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And now we have a final panel for which I would like to invite to our stage Professor Ebrul Izquierdo, who is one of the technical coordinators of the SILVANUS project. Professor Izquierdo. Here he comes. Welcome.
Huh? Me and everybody else, because I am not the speaker.
Ah, I'm supposed to call up everybody. Okay, difficult names, so you don't want to pronounce them. Good, I'll do it. Rogério Spindola, George Sakas, Alexandre Lazaro, Marek Gasparin, Kusrini Akimon, Konstantinos Domestikas. Please join us up here, and welcome back.
Thank you, Douglas. I guess good to sit down here. Okay, the way we wanted to conclude this successful and interesting and appealing event was with a sort of discussion, and we planned it by having, first of all, panelists here in front. I am just here the moderator, nothing else. And we prepare also in that context, the panelists are from different institutions and also able to cover different aspects of the project. The idea is to discuss the sort of holistic nature of this project. The fact that we have a very strong ethical component, that we look at legal aspects, commercialization. There is a work package in the project. The project has a total of 11 work packages. One of them, a full work package, is called dissemination and exploitation. This means it's just dealing at this point with exploitation. And also the fact that we have this international dimension beyond Europe. So we want to cover all these aspects very quick. We are not going to probably spend more than 45 minutes, 1 hour, so that you don't get too tired. And yeah, this will be probably the way of concluding with concluding remarks this, I would say, successful event, not to mention the fact that it was also beautiful, appealing, being here. For me, my first time in Rio, I really enjoyed that. My only regret and the only shortcoming I see in the agenda was the fact that the field trip was too short. It should have been a full day. When we started getting into the action, it was dark, so we have to go back home. But it was great, Rogerio. So thank you for all the organization and everything that has been provided here. So we start then. We start with. I think we start with Rogerio. These are the words that we are going to look at today. Well, in this panel, and we want to listen a bit from you and the other panelists also. The idea is a panel, so it's a sort of interactive discussion here. What we want or are aiming at. So the question here is, why is the Brazilian experiences with wildfire management, the fact that you are probably a world champion in terms of biodiversity. It's amazing being here. We discussed yesterday in some of the presentations the fact that restoration here happens like it's natural. So in Europe, we talk about 10 years for some trees to be planted and to see them moving up. And here you are talking about 2 months to go from a complete devastated fire, rubbish landscape to something that looks even better than before. So that's a complete different dimension. And this is what probably we want to hear and to discuss here with this first question. Rogerio.
Is it working? Yeah. I will address the second part of the question first, with no improvisation. And the first part I will improvise. I would like to structure my speech here around the lessons we have learned. Maybe it's the most important thing to us personally. To us from UFRJ, obviously. There have been so many difficulties, many victories, some defeats along the way. But we have a victory when we managed to bring together so many groups made up of competent, engaged, and goodwill people. We have victory when these groups connect, exchange ideas, and dream of future joint actions, like we could see during the event. We had victory when we managed to show the creative potential and technical competence of Brazilian personnel, not only for the foreign audience, but internally. We don't know each other, and it's very important to us to make connections inside our houses. Among the lessons I've learned, I highlight the way the project was structured, with the very working packages, each one with its leader in different areas of actions, including social communication and wide dissemination of the project's results, something that is not common here. The organization of pilots for product validation is also quite interesting, as it helps the entire diverse group come together and better understand what someone has managed to do, to produce, not to mention the possibility to bring with us members from society, like civil protection, as an example. Another lesson is that it's possible for a project with so many institutions, so many countries, so many diversity of expertise, so many competence, so many objectives, so many interests to be successful. Here we have several countries, but we can think of different institutions inside our state. I believe in this strong joint action between us inside the state of Rio de Janeiro. The most important lesson for me is that we need to be closer, think of solutions together, and use all of our efforts to make them a reality. Addressing the first part of the question, Brazil is very different from many of the countries here at the SILVANUS Consortium, due to its larger territory, so many biomes, and different structures for combating wildfires. We have civil organizations, we have military organizations, and we have many levels of governance acting or dealing with this problem. Maybe smaller countries has a more a shorter structure to deal with it, and because we have a larger one, we have to face this complexity also. So I believe we present a different level of organization to the other members of the consortium. Thank you.
Thank you, Rogerio. I think the fact that you are a big country present challenges, but you are also blessed with the fact that these challenges almost solve on themselves. So the nature keep growing anyway, so it's very different. Any comment? Anyone wants to add to the Brazilian perspective from the Brazilian people in the audience?
People are too shy.
They will control it. They want to talk more on the context of other of the questions we have here. So an important aspect in looking at the fact that most of the technological developments, especially those developments which were sort of cutting edge, new things, innovations, are related to AI. So you heard yesterday in the presentation there was a lot of mentioning of tools based on AI technology. So there are many ethical implications also in the context of data gathering, data processing, and all that. So an important question that is also addressed and considered in the project. I do believe we have two tasks, full tasks related to that in the project. So Dr. Saka is going to deal with this question, tell us a bit more about that. And again, everybody else is also very invited and welcome to contribute.
Okay, actually, because there was no comment in the previous question, I would like to add a comment and then go to the more, let's say, legal and ethical stuff. Why the Brazilian, out of the 11 pilots that we have in Silvanus, the Brazilian is one of the most important. And I'm telling you by heart and from what we have seen so far. Why is that? Because in Brazil, due to the fact probably, okay, that they may not have so much firefighting means, you know, like helicopters or airplanes and all of this, you have invested more in what we propose as a project and the big, let's say, need toward what we say in Europe towards integrated fire management. So practically, Brazil is implementing, not fully, but okay, in some cases, this approach, while in Europe, we are, let's say, a lot behind in this stuff. Europe has a big problem because, you know, it's different member states, different governments, different cultures in some cases. They don't implement it. Only a few countries and only in very small regions, they are trying to implement this integrated fire management approach. So Europe has to go there, but Brazil, like Australia, for example, in some cases may be better than Australia. I don't know. Again, from what we have seen so far, we have not seen everything. Brazil is doing, let's say, this in a much better way, at least for sure, compared to Europe. Now, if we go to the ethical, let's say, considerations, let's start from the basic. We are a European project. The European, let's say, the Union, the Commission has, it is an obligation to follow some rules, let's say, like the GDPR, and take into account the ethical considerations, as we say. We also have, until now, the Artificial Intelligence Act, the Cybersecurity Act, you know, for this. So the European Union has a very big framework. In some cases, we can say that it is strict framework, but this does not mean that things are not progressing. Things can progress, but you know, we have to follow some certain legal rules. Let's say, for example, in order to be here, we have to give you have to give your consent, you know, to be photographed. This is a very simple rule. You have to, even if you go to a pilot, you have to give your consent that you participate and you understand that you participate, you understand the role, you understand what we are doing here. This is the very simple stuff. Now, with the new technologies, that we have, okay, better, that we have, let's say we have biosensors upon humans, the European Union has some rules. You cannot, let's say, just take data from a person monitoring his health, even if it is for work, even if it is for research, and use it freely, without updating anyone. What are you doing with this data? So the rules are there. In some cases, the rules may, let's say, pose some barriers, maybe for time frame for developers. But now all the developers have understand the concept of having these ethical considerations. I cannot take data again, let's say from Costas, for example, I have Costas a biosensor, and take data and publish this data to the internet without the Costas consent and without saying why I'm using the data, why I'm publishing the data. So this is, let's say, maybe the European Commission and the Union is a more, let's say, strict, not strict, public organization in this matter compared, let's say, to the US or the Australian, but the concept is to protect people, okay, to protect the persons. So far, and maybe you are many developers here, you can, let's say, support me if I'm wrong, or at least tell me if I'm wrong. Now you have learned how, let's say, to create applications by respecting these rules, by respecting the person's identity, by respecting, the person's, any person's data, image, picture, something like that. They start to respect, from what we understand, during SILVANUS, and asking specific questions to the developers. There's not even one, let's say, company that does not consider and taking already into account, how to create something that has specific security measures, not to share everything. The other thing is that, and good actually for SILVANUS, is that SILVANUS didn't have the, too much constraints, because many of the data of SILVANUS are, let's say, come from the environment, the natural environment. It could be weather data, it could be smoke, and in many cases you don't have to see, to take pictures of persons. So we were, compared to other projects, SILVANUS was a bit on the safe side, Also about the artificial intelligence, because there are some models that, especially for the fire spread algorithm, is based on artificial intelligence. For me, we didn't have any issue. For me, the biggest issue about ethics and AI that will come to the future is on the decision support systems. And I will give you an example. We have a decision support system that works well, but as any computer model, it has, let's say, one major constraint: garbage in, garbage out. Good data in, good data out. Okay. We have to be very careful what we feed our algorithms in order to get some good results. So here comes a big question. You have a decision support system, for example, like SILVANUS. You feed the support system with some data that you have at the specific moment, for a case at the moment of an emergency, of a wildfire, and the decision support system gives you its result, its decision. The biggest problem that disaster managers will have, like you and civil protection officers, is that you have to filter, you have to understand the decision, the result of the system. Because what happens if the decision of the system is wrong, and this wrong could be fatal, fatal and lead to some people deaths. Who has the blame for it? This, for me, it will become a big issue. And this is also an issue for me as well, for the artificial intelligence algorithms. Because there is a very big trend to use artificial intelligence for everything. And in some cases, because, these models are new and are still learning, and maybe they're more computer guys than me, but the results are not that reliable. These can have in the future, and if the algorithms are not trained well with proper data, and the data have to be continuously updated, you cannot do a fire spread now with a vegetation layer from 20 years ago. You have to update it every year if possible, especially if this part of land has burned. There will be an issue because the computer reads the input. If the input is good, you may have strong probability that you have a good output. But as we say, what I have learned, I'm a geologist, I have studied seismology, the first thing that we do when we use computer is garbage in, garbage out. Be careful of your input data. So this is where the biggest problem will be and will raise ethical and legal issues in the future. I'm stopping here to let the others.
No, thank you. Very, very good introduction. Actually, this gives me in the same context, this gives me the opportunity to make a question that I wanted to make before, but they didn't allow us to ask questions to the presenters, which is very related. And the question is, as you heard from George, the European regulation is very strong, and to some extent is hampering developments in the field. It happens that I had the opportunity to observe and endure to some extent the development of the process of dealing with data in the UK and in Germany. In the UK as academic, in Germany as dealing with a small company. And there are differences, and these differences are mostly due to the fact that there is a lot of legacy regulation that hampers not only the development of technology and progress in other senses, but also the introduction of e-governance, for instance. So, and my question was to you: how agile is that process here in Brazil? Do you have also, do you have to deal with these large amounts of legacy regulation that hampers the process of advancing in the digital transformation and the dealing with data? Do we have another one? Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Thank you for your question. Yes, we have here to deal with a lot of regulation too, and we have a similar law we have LGPD, which is our GDPR, and it's very similar. It's based on GDPR. Yeah. So it is a big issue for us. Although we understand that it has its importance. But what we are trying to do as government is to facilitate, because one thing I don't know deeply GDPR, but our law says that you can use personal data for enhancing public policies. So government can use to deploy better services, for example. This is allowed, but you have to go through a complex process. to do this. And what we are trying to build here in the city of Rio de Janeiro is our own local law that must obey the federal law, of course, but creating a process flow that it's automatic or almost automatic for treating data within the government.
Yeah, makes sense. I think it makes also sense try to streamline the especially if you are trying to look at the European regulation, which is very heavy. I actually a very quick comment on that. I thought you are more or you try to look a bit more at the American than the European. It's not the case, right?
No, not the case.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the geographical location.
No, at least not at this aspect. GDPR, our LGPD is based on GDPR, and we don't have an artificial intelligence regulation yet, but it is being discussed in the Congress, and it is also based on the Artificial Intelligence Act from Europe. Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
Just to tell you that we had the same issue with Australia, when the pilot in Australia happened. And actually we find out that Australia also has a similar to GDPR, and actually it's very, very similar to the European one, with minor technical, let's say, legal details.
This is mostly because there's strong link with the UK, right?
Yeah, but in any case, all the big, the nations have now something to protect, let's say, the persons. There are differences from UK to Europe or to the USA, but there are let's say legal tools to protect a protective framework around the person. There are differences, but there's too many commonalities if you also check in a deeper, let's say, level. Just this.
Good morning, everyone. I would try to contribute with this question you raised about who am I going to blame with the wrong decision. There's an example here in Rio State. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the city, but there is a municipality. Okay.
It is an obligation. If it's not allowed, don't say it. Just give a very big example. Okay.
But there's an emergency operation center here in Rio de Janeiro State. They already work with IA in their decision-making process. But how it works? The IA suggests the solutions, possible solutions. They already have formatted a protocol, kind of protocol, and then suggest the city manager on duty. So we have these suggestions. What do we want to do? So the manager at that day, he signs the decision. So he's the one to blame if something's wrong, okay? That's how it works in one city here in Rio de Janeiro State.
So even if the decision was made by AI?
The suggestion is made by AI, but the decision is man-made, okay?
It is not a decision, it's a suggestion. And actually, something for the developers, you have to give suggestions with results and errors and probability of, reliability of the results and all of this.
Please. Question. Fires are not static. They move, they change. Sometimes, you predict your conditions, and when you show up on site, they are not what you think. Now, my question then becomes, having had experience for many years of fighting fires myself, what happens, for example, you have a city manager who makes a decision, right? Now, on-the-ground personnel sometimes say, nah, that's not what we're going to do, and we completely change that application. So my question is, then the AI who make the suggestions, does it take in consideration that on-the-ground commanders change? Sometimes none of the options that are given are the ones that they use. And trust me, I've been through that one, and we kind of go like, what are we doing? And does AI, this particular, the system, does it update itself based on information that you get from field commands, or it continues the suggestions? They need to be authorized by a city manager in that case.
I would answer, actually, I don't know. It depends on how the AI algorithm has been built. You know, if it is built to take the input or updates even from the field commanders or the field forces or the static layers or dynamic, I don't know. It has to be, you know, for me, you need to have an AI that can take multiple sources real time. But Nelly, please.
I'm referring to SILVANUS decision support system, only to this specific, because decision support systems is a big umbrella for different things. What's SILVANUS decision support system is that it takes as input, George referred to inputs, as input specific things, where the fire is right now, the weather, and what are the available resources, crews, fire brigades, etc., and suggests you where to place them. If you don't put them there, you will have an evolution. Several minutes later, you can say, I have now a new fire front, and now my resources are there. Give me a suggestion. It doesn't what the commander will do, actually, does not affect what the system will tell you. You just have to update the system to give the updated fire front. It's just suggestions, as we said.
And to add to that, indeed, the decision support system is support. It's recommendation, and it is not decision-taking. And because the system has well-known limitations, as you said, there will always be cases where you are in danger of garbage-in situations. If the place has been altered in the last few months, the technology most of the times will not be able to keep up with that. So you must be aware of the limitations and what the AI system has been trained to do. It will perform well when it is handling known situations. It will not perform well handling situations it has never been trained to adapt to. So it is up to the human factor to understand these limitations, integrate them into the global decision-taking process. So, but there is an issue here that we must also develop a process of continuously updating the data, feeding the system with the correct data, training the personnel that is using the decision system to be aware of the limitations and the limiting factors, and actually take the decision, also taking the human intelligence, of course, in the loop.
Thank you. I think we should move on to the next. Otherwise, we can be late for lunch. So we are moving to another important aspect, also very important in the context of the previous talks, the last two talks that were given here, and is looking at the commercialization aspects, the role of the market, and what is the question here is what is the role of the market in sustainable wildfire and forest management? And Alex Lazarou, perhaps you introduce yourself, is going to start the discussion in this context.
Okay, thank you, Abrul. Okay, does it work? Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Alexander Lazarou from Zanasian Partners, and I work as a project manager on Silvanus. So today the question is about what is the role of the market, and meaning incentives that goes on forests for different functions, such as restoration or wildfire protection eventually. So let's explore them. On some aspects they are positive, as of course we receive funding that can be used for forest restoration or forest conservation. So it's nice, of course, as we have money that we can use to enhance the resilience of forests or other activities. But there is a but. So we introduce market, and with it market dynamics on forest, which is quite challenging. So we must ask ourselves a question. Does the market help or does it hinder forest and wildfire management? So on the positive aspect, of course, there is the provision of fundings. which is necessary as forest is a natural resource which is not able to gain significant fundings on its own. So having the market, of course, helps in the receiving of fundings. There are several systems and several funding schemes that have been developed in the last years, such as green finance or payment for ecosystem services, or eventually also network-based solutions, with everyone has its own way of working and has its different impacts. For example, in the green finance, we have carbon credits, which are which have emerged quite a bit of time ahead and are quite emerging. So all these aspects are positive, but let's explore now the downside. The first problem is market, of course, because its focus is not on long-term sustainability, but it's on the generation of return. So the focus is on short-term profit over long-term sustainability, and this is challenging in an ecosystem that is so big, such as forest. Additionally, there are market dynamics which can lead to the creation of winners and losers, and also power imbalances. And we are quite exploring in this situation, as there is a significant imbalance between the global north and the global south. And especially the north and northern companies can continue to develop and pay the south for restoration, for example, carbon credits. Northern company can achieve their ESG targets by paying global south forest to reduce their emissions. So this is nice because the global south receive funding, but on the other hand, the global north can continue to develop without changing anything, while they are the first in the emission of CO2, while the global south is obliged to comply to restoration and conservation efforts, which can hinder its development. Another challenge that we have is in the involvement of local communities. They are not always involved fairly, and their involvement is quite tricky. I have two examples, one from our visit in Indonesia, where they mentioned that local communities prefer to have palm oil forest instead of the local forest because the palm oil industry provides them funding. So they will not comply with restoration if they say, okay, I can burn the forest and have palm oil industry, so I will have more income. So this is the first issue. And the second one about the Brazilian perspective that was presented the other day, I think, about religious tradition in Brazil, with like the candles, that some local communities have this religion with candles, and candles can lead to wildfire. So we have to say them to stop, and we had quite a discussion about this, and it's quite tricky because we cannot limit their religion, but it's challenging. At the same time, the implementation can not always be appropriate, and there can be some problems with lack of transparency and corruption. For example, we can provide the funding to foresters or forest managers, but we are not sure how the money is spent, and if there is some corruption, maybe the funding would not go to the implementation of forest conservation or restoration efforts, but they can be taken from other actors. So moving on the emerging solutions, I will start from the local communities. So there are several efforts in increasing the real involvement of local communities, and especially also in European projects, as we see a lot of more effort in understanding, involving also social science and humanities, so that we are able to merge the innovation and technology with how people act, because what we must ensure to is to have compliance. If we have some restoration effort, we must really understand what are the needs of the local communities living in the forest or other actors, because if we have compliance, we are sure that they will comply and provide effort in the restoration or conservation. There are several examples of such stakeholder engagement, like, for example, community-based forest management or community-led finance, or again from Indonesia, we have social forestry, which are quite promising, but they need to be further explored. And the challenge here is on the upscaling, because they work well on the local context, but the upscaling is quite challenging. other emerging solutions are the use of digital innovations, or for example also AI that can, or other innovations that can increase transparency and also increase accountability, so that we reduce the amount of corruption or the lack of transparency that I mentioned earlier. Or even more broader concepts like the introduction of concepts of social justice and equity, so that we'll have that market will limit, or if it's possible, its focus on short-term profit over long-term sustainability. So to conclude, we can say that, well, of course, market is good as it provides funds that are necessary for all the effort that we need in the forest. And it can be a really valuable tool, but it needs to change its perspective. They must really focus on truly benefiting the forest and the communities that rely on them. And here the question is, how can we ensure this? Thank you.
Thank you. I fully agree with your, well, I agree with almost everything you say, but I really echo what your last sentence. Any comments from? Okay, we can move on. In the SILVANUS project, as you notice, and as you notice also in this event, today here, we made sure that the users, the people that are going to use the technology and the ones that are on the front line of combat in the context of wildfires are very, very involved in the project and in the development. So their voices were also always important in the feedback that they gave to us, was also critical and taken into consideration for the development. So in that context, the question here is, so we want to hear from somebody who is a user, is not a technologist per se, although he understands a lot of technology too, is a member of the Czech Fire Corps, Marek Kasparin. Yeah, can I start the discussion about the real impact of advanced technologies in the front line from the point of view of the user?
So, hello to everyone, good morning. So, I think we have already touched this subject through all 3 days past. But first, before I will continue, I would like to just only react on the discussion on AI support to decision-making processes. So, they were talking about what the major decides and so on and so on. In reality, it works a little bit different. Majors make some strategic decisions, what they want to reach, but how it will be done is up to incident commander. He is responsible for safety of the people in the scene of accident or emergency. Does it work? It's up to him. How? So, and you know, talking about the AI, so it's very popular. These are very popular words right now, but not everything we are using is AI, because there can be some algorithms, but still it's a learning process. What you put into the system, you will give. So it's good to be open-minded and to keep your own ideas, and based on your own experience. I don't want to blame AI because really it's subjects which it will be future for us. I think in some way it can be helpful and we really admire, I hope to discuss with you about the way how you utilize the AI, because right now we are working on this subject too, how to use this, even especially in the control room decision-making processes. It's very, very interesting subject. So let's continue on the real impact of advanced technologies in frontline. So in general, like end users, we really like to participate in these kinds of research and innovation projects. Why? Because it gives us opportunities to learn something new. We have a chance to test, exercise some technologies which are, for example, out of our reach. They are often too expensive to have them. They are very specific, and we have already talked about this subject, talking about the utilization of drones. We need versatile tools, which can be used for several purposes and for quite a wide range of emergencies. But still, these participations in these projects gives us a really big chance to test, to try new things. Another big benefit of participation of this project is networking. We haven't been talking about this right now during these few days, but all mission abroad gives them the chance to see how things are done by our colleagues. It's not about the fact that we can compete who does it better. It's not about this. It's about learn how can we be better. I told yesterday we emergency posers are quite open-minded people. We want to just help people, and we welcome any possibility to make our work more effective. That's the point. And impact of advanced technologies. There is another issue I want to point, and it's these new technologies are advancing too fast recently, and there is a big problem how they are, in which way they are put in market. We can often obtain these new technologies, but tomorrow they are old. It's a very big problem for us to adapt this. So in general, it's a challenge for everyone. Pardon? To keep up, yeah, because at least it's about the resources. To buy something, so it's not that just only about to buy something, but you need to train, educate people to use these tools. So it's a really complex issue, and I really, as I said yesterday, I really like on this dashboard solution. It's opened, and it can be many technologies you have already owned can be adapted into this dashboard in SILVANUS platform, which is very beneficial for the end users. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Any additional comments? You? No? Okay. So I saw you raising your hand, so right. Yes. No, this is your last point on keeping up with technology from the point of view of the industry is a very valid and important point. My experience as academic, when we are working on the technologies that are moving quick, we notice that the industry is very reluctant to implement them. Usually they are working with technologies that are 15 years old because it is very expensive to adapt. So it goes in cycles, and it takes time, especially when the technology is moving quick. Yeah. So moving on, and again, getting back to the international dimension of the project, I would like to ask Professor Cusini to tell us her views on her experience from the point of view of Indonesia.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Kusrini. It's an honor for me to be here as a representative of AMICOM, the only one partner from Indonesia. We have many experience during this project. I'm a computer scientist and have an opportunity to explore about environmental problem and deal in bringing the IT solution for that. In this project, we met many experts that we could learn many things from them. The system is that is prepared by Intrasoft, by ITDI, Dell, and many others partner force us to follow their standard, and with that we dig deeper and to have the international standard technology. We learn from Prof. Ibrul, from Krishna, Michele, Nelly, and many other of you, how to deal with many people in this huge consortium. I think it's a very, very important experience for me myself and also for my university. These projects also give added value for AMICOM, for Indonesia. I'm on behalf of AMICOM's management appreciate your opportunity, giving us the opportunity to collaborate with you in this important project. We are happy contributing our knowledge and skill as part of the solution in this project. We are proud to show Indonesian case, many Indonesian case. Yesterday we showed some of them, and we hope there is knowledge exchange between Indonesia, between European, between Brazil, Australia, so we can improve our contribution into the real solution to our countries. In this project, we become the pilot in phase C. Because of that, we successfully invite many of the SILVANUS partner, maybe some of you already there, to visit our country, Indonesia, and seeing directly what is the problem there and what solution that we can give to Indonesians' problem. We really hope with that we will have more opportunity to extend the collaboration, not only in phase C, but also all of the phases. We already work together with many partners along this project period, and this week, in the almost end of this project, we meet you, Rogerio, and many of experts from Brazil. This is very valuable for us. Yes, the only one that we regret is we met you in the most end of this project. I agree with Prof. Ibrul. If we can, like doing this FGD in the beginning of this project, or at least in the middle of this project, I believe that many things that we can do, and the result of this project will be more valuable. Okay, but there is no need to be regret. But what we can do then, after this project, I think we can identify what we have and what more opportunity that we can get after this. So hopefully after this, Brazil, Indonesia can still contribute in the many other projects in the European country. And thank you very much for Rogerio and for your team that prepared this great meeting, great visitation. I think with 45 hours trip from Indonesia to Brazil, it worth it. Okay, thank you very much. And
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Besides the product, knowledge, and maybe money that we get from this project, there are more important thing that I get from this project: getting many new friends, okay, new family. Now we know wherever we go, we have you. Yeah. We don't need to feel alone when we are abroad, so we can contact you. Yeah. Although this project near end, we hope that our friendship will never end, forever ever. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. A comment on the point you made that we met Rogerio almost at the end. Actually, no, we met Rogerio in Brazil, almost at the end. So basically what you were trying to say was that we should have the meeting in Brazil a bit earlier. I agree with that. That would have been, probably would have enabled us to interact more with the people here in Brazil on the ground, because we had the chance to interact with Brazil in other latitudes. I remember you in Bucharest having a beer together, and I done other places. So Brazil was in the project from the outset, just to say that, and the feedback that we got from the Brazilian partners from the outset also was very valuable. Of course, it's very different when you are on the site in this place. So this is the last point of discussion for today to conclude, and this brings the academic side is always last. That's the reason it's also here last. So Professor Demetrias Konstantinos is going to tell us a bit about how the academic community is impacting also related developments.
Yes, thank you very much, Brul. You gave the best question to George, but okay. Now, coming to the academic community, I think the role of the academic community is becoming more and more important. One of the things that we should try to pass as a message, especially to young students, is the role of interdisciplinarity. We are facing very complex challenges, the climate change, the multiple types of crisis, health, food, and climate, and all these. In order to study them and start thinking about how to address them, you need an interdisciplinary approach. So you need technology, you need domain expertise, you need the scientists that are from different disciplines, and so in Silvanus you need not just foresters but also soil experts, hydrologists, entomologists, biologists, so a lot of different disciplines that should come together to cooperate, and this is a key message that we should try to pass to our students and our audience. What we do in the Agricultural University of Athens, and it's not easy, is to try to establish cooperation between also different labs inside the universities. This is sometimes harder than collaborating with an organization that is outside your own, because labs sometimes operate as silos, and it's difficult to establish cooperation. So in Silvanus we have achieved that. We have a very good cooperation with the forestry department. Our is the informatics department, so this is important as a culture of cooperation to continue. Another thing is that we need to, let's say, embrace digital technologies and embed them better in our curricula. A lot of times we have digital applications, digital technology solutions that we should be aware of, and we should try to embed these into our courses. This doesn't mean that the discipline that is taught, forestry or agriculture or plant science and so on, loses its value, but rather it maintains its value, and also you have this new set of tools that you can do your that at least you should be aware, and you can do your job more easily. We see this in not just in forest protection, but also in other fields when it comes to life sciences and geosciences and so on. Another thing is that we need to give to students more training opportunities. I think I saw also in the past few days that there were also students participating and master students and so on. I think that this should be encouraged and bring also young scientists, young students into the project, so that they can become more engaged, and this is the type of engagement that can also be encouraged by the academic community. Universities can also play a key role in acting as, let's say, a lighthouse of innovation. So technologies that we can see as proof of concept, do they work, under which circumstances, do we need additional training to make them more usable, and so on. I think that this is a role that sometimes it's neglected, but it definitely have a very large impact in the future. And another aspect is and this is also coming from the experience, not just from Silvanus, but also from other projects. Sometimes we say that we follow a participatory or a co-design approach, but really we don't. Rather, developers develop something and then it is shown, and then that's it. So I think that we could play, I mean the academic community and the projects as a whole, a more active role into embedding a participatory approach and a user-oriented approach inside the design process, which will actually benefit the final, the end solutions even more. And I'm not just saying about the end user, but also the domain experts. So these have to be embedded more closely into the system design processes. Now, coming to, of course, to the AI, again, the knowledge involves. We have trouble understanding how all these complex ecosystems work, and more and more there is additional knowledge, and we have to keep up with it, how all the different components of an ecosystem interact and what affects and how they affect one another. And in parallel, all the technologies involved. We are living in a world of many scientific and technological breakthroughs. We have trouble keeping up with, and soon we will have trouble to. I'm making this. No. We will have. Yeah. We will have trouble understanding the world around us. So universities and the academic community need to establish solid grounds for the next generations, and have this, let's say, a culture of investigating and learning new things. When it comes to AI, I agree, of course, with what you have said. I just want to highlight also what Brul has said, that the regulations that have, let's say, been made at the EU level, of course they are viable, but at the same time they come at a cost. The cost is that there is a high cost of compliance to GDPR. I think it's something like 20% of revenues for small and medium enterprises. The cost of compliance to the AI Act will be even higher, so this creates a barrier in the economy. And this barrier will have a long-term impact, because if you have fewer innovators in technology and in AI, This means that there will be a consolidation to fewer, let's say, vendors, AI vendors, and soon you will have to import technology from the US, from China, from wherever. So regulation, yes, helps in having a legal basis to fight, let's say, illegal use or criminals or whatever, but at the same time it creates a friction towards innovation. So this is a trade-off that we have to keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Kostas. Any comment on that? I think we have a lot of people here from the academia. Well, we are in a great academic institution anyway, so so I guess we can consider all ourselves as academics. Yes, please go ahead.
So I would like to speak not only from the academic perspective or for the research perspective, and before once more thank you, Rogero, at the end, at least on behalf of KEMEA. I would like to take a magic word that Kostas said, silos. You know, everyone, European member states, countries outside Europe, we think that we have the magic solution, each country, and we're working only in silos. What Silvanus have bring is these 11 pilots that we have met so many people, so many practices, different cultures. Our eyes are so open after all these pilots, and not only in the European level, but also outside the European level. So if I may, a key takeaway from my side is not to working in silos, but in cross-sectoral, let's say, cooperation, engagement, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Thank you very much. Before I pass the mic to Rogerio back to probably to close the event, let me ask you to give a very, very warm, big and long applause to the local organizers, especially again Rogerio. I am concerned of pronouncing wrong the name. Mayara.
Mayara.
And all the other people behind the scenes. I think they have been great in organizing this event, great in being with us all the time, and great, as Kusini said, friends that may stay with us for years to come. Thank you.
Ibu has robbed my words. I would ask you to do a loud ovation to Dr. Mayara Picanso. She is greatest. She is marvelous, and we are very lucky to have her in our team. Don't try to pick her up. I would like to the presence of everyone from the audience, from the Silvanus team. I really appreciate the participation of our stakeholders for their efforts to be here, and people from the technical side, like Carlos, like Nehemias, like so many people who helped us to do a great event here. I'd like also to thank you, all the entity team, Lúcio, Christian, I don't know where people are, Yuri, Lucas is not here today, and our great presenter, Professor Douglas Knupp. Everyone worked so hard to make the best event for you, and I hope we have fulfilled the expectations. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes. The people who worked with the food, with the visual communication also. There are many people. Of course, I will forget some people, but I was very happy what happened during this event. Lunch.